Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Miraz. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Becca Klein. Becca holds a degree in psychology and a master's degree in clinical rehabilitation and mental health counseling. As a dating coach, she uses a mix of empathy, strong intuition, and clinical and training to ensure clients are able to self-reflect and improve their dating lives. Also, Becca's been featured in many publications: Fast Company, CNN with Morgan Spurlock, Time, Business Insider, oh my God, Mashable, Marie Claire, the list goes on and on. And so I am honored to have you on my little show.
Thank you. So I'm honored to be here. I'm excited to
Well,
be here.
no, it's my pleasure. So Becca, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was that journey like to get here to today?
So I took quite an interesting journey. I never would have in my life envisioned that I would be a date coach, if I'm being honest. But I started as a therapist, as you spoke about, with my background in clinical mental health. So I actually worked with, I got specifically trained in trauma and somatic modalities. I did EMDR, brain spotting, trauma resiliency model, and started my own private practice as a therapist, helping clients through that trauma. But found myself wanting to use my skill set, but in a way that was a bit more sustainable long term and lighthearted. So I decided, well, maybe matchmaking, maybe I'll give that a whirl. So I pivoted and did matchmaking while I still had my private practice and did that for many years, but then missed a little bit more of the interpersonal work. So then I
Mhm.
decided to come on as a date coach for 3-day rule matchmaking, where I've been for almost 8 years now. And I've blended the two worlds.
It's amazing how people could pivot in certain situations, and you did that. And listen, I'm happy that you're here. So I'm glad that you're helping people out, especially in dating. And today's topic is a good one: healthy boundaries and privacy. Becca, what I'm seeing out there is that, again, what I'm reading, what I see in other podcasts, uh, clips where it seems in Gen Z, especially when we were older, when I was younger, like your age and younger, um, yeah, the boundaries were there, but it wasn't like we needed to say anything. It was, I guess, implied, if that makes sense. Now it seems like some women and some guys have criteria. I won't even say they're healthy boundaries. It's like, some men have a 17-point checklist, some women have 30-point checklist. Is that what you're seeing out there? Is that what dating is all about in 2025?
Yeah, it's definitely a different story now than it was then. And I can see that so clearly when I'm working with my clients who are freshly divorced and haven't dated in maybe 30, 40 years. And they're saying, what world am I stepping into now? This is a
Yeah.
totally different ball game. But I will say, the internet, social media accessibility is both a blessing and a curse when it comes to dating. I think on
Mhm.
the pros, we have a lot more access to understanding ourselves, to insight, to being able to know what we're looking for in a relationship and self-reflect in that way, learn about boundaries, learn about preferences. And on the other side, we're always trying to maximize and believing that the best of the best is out there because it feels accessible in our fingertips through Instagram, through dating apps. And so
Yeah.
we at times can become a little bit skewed in the perception of what actually really matters to us in the day to day because we are visually seeing opportunity presented to us anywhere and everywhere on our phones.
Yeah, I agree there. So has social media, and I'm talking about less more, not the dating apps, but Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube Shorts, is that become more of putting up a dating profile? In other words, because I've seen women, I've seen guys, they state what they want. Well, I want this in a woman, I want this in a man. Is that now the new profile, not even a written profile where you see maybe on Match.com and some of these other dating sites? Is that also maybe a problem? Like you said, maybe Instagram is just uh, putting out, or maybe people are presenting themselves not how they really are. Did my question make sense at all?
Yeah, yeah, it completely makes sense. And I think 100% Instagram is a marketing tool, objectively. A
Mhm.
lot of people make a lot of money off of marketing on Instagram. And so
Yeah.
when that becomes the norm of how people are using Instagram, even your day-to-day person who's not getting any monetary, involvement in Instagram is still going to want to market themselves in a way that keeps up with the algorithm, keeps up with the perception that people want to have. So I do think that there is something to be said. I mean, I'm seeing clients who will not go on a date before they are able to, internet sleuth, as they say, or go through Instagram and see what somebody is presenting as. And sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, but it definitely misses the depth and the fullness of who a person is. So I don't think it's an accurate way to assess, but people are, in my opinion, over relying on TikTok, Instagram, things like that to see how somebody might be in the world and to then vet them and then decide if they want to go on a date with them.
So now we're going to rely, well, I should say, but let's say the younger people are relying on picture status and,
Yeah.
excuse me, and what they see on Instagram as like a telltale sign, like, you know what? I think I could go out with this person without even, let's say, talking on the phone. Are phone conversations a dying medium, if that makes sense?
Okay, so they were, but I will say in the last year, I've seen them come back. And I've seen them come
Okay.
back in my younger clients, younger being 30s, early 30s, mid
Okay.
30s.
Okay.
More specifically on the male end of things, men are wanting to bring phone calls back for efficiency. They are burnt out
Oh,
from the apps, they're burnt out from the pen pals, the texting, the DMing. It's too much, it's too much to track. They just want to get on the phone for efficiency. Whether they have success of getting somebody on the other line of that phone, still 50-50. If I'm being honest, it's not always received well, but I will say there is a movement coming that I have observed of people going to more traditional methods of getting on a phone call, making the date, and just getting there.
I see that. See, to me, again, when I was younger, I mean, we had no choice. There wasn't really
Yeah.
dating apps back then, 30, 20, 30, 35 years ago. So let's get into the topic at hand, healthy boundaries. How can that be set without the other person getting a little bit offended? Guys have certain things they want to do, women have certain things they want to do. How, they can't, they won't be able to crisscross because somebody might get offended or, well, I don't know. I don't think I could go out with this person because their boundaries are A, B, and C, and mine's just A and B.
Yeah.
Again, was I in the ballpark? Did that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of people are coming into dating with already these non-negotiables set and established. And it's like, if you can't play within my ballpark, then I don't want to even entertain it, which it's historically, if you think about it, it's reverse of how we used to view
Mhm.
compatibility in dating. We used to meet somebody, if we liked the conversation enough, we'd go out with them enough times to then understand what their preferences are, what they wanted in a relationship. So I think boundaries are beautiful to keep us safe, but we are perhaps over relying on them early on and wanting to always assert that so early. So, what I always say is let's reframe boundaries. Let's share them early on as preferences. They really don't need to become boundaries unless somebody is starting to cross them or broach them. But it's
Okay.
okay to share your preferences. It's okay to say, I have this kind of lifestyle and it's important to me that my partner value that and I want to explore people who value that. But we don't need to come in with such strict boundaries. It's we can explore that together once the connection is already established. But even, as it pertains to the dating apps, I always tell people don't come in on your dating app saying don't swipe on me if XYZ. Kind of gives a
Yeah,
negative
I've
taste
seen that.
already.
Yeah,
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 it's like
I've seen that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Becca, what would be like some of the steps that someone could take to talk about their preferences? To make sure that the other person's not offended. I guess if they get offended, then maybe that person's not for you. Maybe
yeah.
that's a red flag. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, what I like to say is be your authentic self, and whatever you observe on the receiving end is just information. It's not good, it's not bad, it doesn't mean
Mm,
someone's wrong, it's just information. So, early on, the way I see this show up is in pacing, in communication style, in even logistics of day planning. I see some people want to text all the time, some people want to text a little bit, or some people want to have 3 dates a week, some people want to have one date a week. And instead of coming in it wanting to assert a boundary or decide that that person's right or wrong for you, state a preference of first acknowledging the effort. Hey, I recognize that you really want to connect with me and I value that you're prioritizing this. I'm wondering if we can move a bit slower. I'm more comfortable with one date a week. What do you think about that? So
okay.
you're acknowledging the effort they're putting in, you're sharing your preference, and then you're creating collaborative language by saying, what do you think about that? Let's collaborate on how we connect with one another. So, when we then can say that, when we can share our preference, and somebody has the instruction manual, so to speak, of how we want to be connected with, and
Yeah.
they are able either going to be able or want to do that, or they are not, and vice versa. And if you're not, maybe we're just not compatible. If you are, great, let's do that. If you say you are, but then you're not acting in accordance with that, that's when boundaries come into play. Hey, I had mentioned this and you had agreed to it, but it's feeling like you're not adhering to what we had kind of agreed to. I'm not feeling that this is the right fit for me. That's when the boundary comes in. When you have the concrete
Gotcha.
information that somebody can't really go with what the agreement was in that collaborative conversation.
Okay, no, that's definitely deep because I think it all comes down to communication, right? Let's
Mhm.
talk about this at the beginning, at the beginning of a relationship, or you had that conversation on the phone, whatever, and then from there maybe you could meet. Because I'm one of those I like to meet in person,
Yeah.
or if I talk to someone on the phone, I could tell whether their voice is happy, they're upset. I could tell. I can't
Yeah.
tell in the text. Sure, you could write capital letters. That's not going to tell me anything. Me personally.
Yeah.
And we got the privacy side of right of healthy boundaries and privacy. So how does privacy come into play? Are we checking each other's phone? Are we comfortable enough to, hey, no, if somebody calls me, you could pick up.
Yeah.
That's part of the privacy. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, the privacy part is a bit interesting. Obviously, I think this has been a different sentiment among my male clients versus my female clients. Some of my
Yeah.
female clients don't want their phone number dispersed before they've gotten a chance to know somebody. So I say get a Google phone number, get a number that you can easily delete
Mhm.
off of your phone. So you still want that personal touch, but if it feels like safety is quite important to you, or sometimes we're working with high power executives that don't want people to have access to their phone number right away unless there's a deeper connection established. For a variety of reasons, people might have different preferences with that, but you want to remember the human touch of it. You want to still be able to feel like that person has access to connecting with you even
Okay.
while you're keeping yourself safe, because if the message is you have to prove that you are worthy of my phone number, that's not really the type of connection you want to start on. So as you continue to get to know each other, you can say, look, I do this with everyone. I had a Google phone number because I just really I value my privacy and I've wanted to prioritize that, but I let's shift to something more personal. But, always try to still maintain that personal touch within the privacy.
Now I've seen where not too many people, and I encountered this about a year ago. I met this woman and we exchanged Facebook profiles.
Mm,
And I was like, wow. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, so this is how it is now. No more phone numbers, is Facebook.
yeah.
I have a friend who's in her early 20s, mid 20s. And when she tells me about her dating stories or people that she's meeting, everything now is, hey, let's exchange Instagram accounts.
Yep.
So like you said before, right now you're doing the private detective. So
Yep.
let me look at her pictures. Let me see how she, carries herself. Let me see what he looks like in certain
Yeah.
situations. So I see that. But isn't that giving away our privacy by sharing, Facebook profiles or Instagram profiles?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's a personal preference. Some people are comfortable with it, others are
Yeah.
not. But I think the reality is if you are going to be sharing Instagram profiles as a way of vetting, you have to accept the risk of that, which is that people will be using their lens and their perception put onto your photos that could have a totally different meaning and feeling for you, and then be making their decisions off of that. So again, what I always say is you're not going to get accurate information. You'll get information, but it's information that's tainted by your own perceptions of what that might be. I know women who won't go out with a guy who has one fish photo on his Instagram, or
I
women
heard
who won't go out
that.
with men who won't go out with a girl who's, I don't know, always with girls on brunch on a Sunday. So people have these weird kind of rules for themselves that, again,
Yeah.
if you can't get to the anchor of why that rule has merit, it probably shouldn't exist. And so I think that what Instagram does sometimes is give us too many things to latch onto to make judgments that are inaccurate and then block ourselves off from connection.
Yeah, and this is even without getting to know the person, right?
Yeah,
You're just jumping
before a
to
first date.
yeah, you're jumping to conclusions. Oh my gosh, she's like you said, she's going out with the girls every Sunday for brunch. Oh, that's a red flag. Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute, he likes to spend time with the boys and play. Was that Fortnite? Whatever. All these,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know that any of these games, Becca. And we're talking with Becca Klein, and I don't even know none of these games because even when I was younger, I might have had. I think it was a portable like hockey set, and I would just play with another buddy. But that's it. I was never
Yeah.
into video games. That's just me. I'd rather watch the real thing.
Yeah.
If I want to watch a sporting event, I want to watch it. Um, Fast forward now. I mean, I hate to say to predict the future, but you're saying you see more and more people, especially maybe on the men's side, getting it. They want to get into a phone conversation. Are women starting to catch up, or are they still a little bit lagging behind and relying on the text, the DMs, and all that? Because again, you mentioned a little bit of trust issue, and I agree with you. If you don't know the guy, you never saw him before, you never met him, a Google phone number.
Yeah,
Guys got to understand that. A friend of mine who's a few years younger than me, she told me that she whenever she meets a guy, she gives him
yeah,
a Google phone number.
perfect.
So yeah. So if you could talk more about that, are women starting to at least latch on to the phone conversation, or again, it's just men are just going up and women are just starting to catch up a little bit? How do you see it?
I think men are the first to catch this wave because men are the ones that are asked to pursue and they're feeling
Hmm.
burnout from the intensity of how they have to pursue to even secure the date, like
Right.
that legwork that they have to do up front. So they're becoming the first to really say, I don't want to engage in this back and forth. Let's just get to the point. If we want to see each other, we want to see each other. If we don't, we don't. But I will say a lot of women, especially women with high intent, like women who are really ready for a relationship, are receptive to this. So sometimes that in and of itself, I have a client who uses that alone to vet, if she's really intentional about dating. If we can't get on a phone call, and sure, schedules can be tough and that's fine. I'm not going to call her out of the blue. But if I say, let's hop on a call to plan this date, and then I can't reach her for 3 weeks, maybe that's not the right fit for me because we're in a different
Yeah.
place with what we're looking for. So I will say men, I think, are a little bit more there because men are more burnt out with the pursuit, but women,
Yeah.
especially women who are intentional, receive it well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping to see that, especially with my nieces and nephews while they're still in their 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
that they could because some of them are having dating issues because everything is through text and everything is through Instagram and social media. So I like to see that. I'm glad you gave that statistic out that at least some men are
Yeah.
want to pursue by making a phone call. So Becca, before I let you go, and again, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. What are you looking for in the next, let's say 7 months for your practice and your goals?
So for me, I really want coaching to become more well known in the dating
Hmm.
community. I work for a 3-day rule matchmaking, and
Yeah,
matchmaking is becoming more and more known and more popular because people
yeah,
are coming off of the apps. But for me, I want to see coaching really come in and support people because the reality is there could be a variety of reasons why your dating life is not working. Doesn't mean
hmm,
it's your fault. It doesn't mean anyone else's fault, but there's so many little tweaks and adjustments we can make within ourselves or in how we execute that can get us to better results. And when I see clients make a small change that doesn't push them too far out of their comfort zone, but just gives them a little nugget of how to do something different, and then they start having success in dating, feeling better, having more resiliency with rejection or meeting more like-minded people, it is so rewarding. Just hopeful that people will start learning more about coaching so that they can start implementing some more tools and skills and feel more empowered in dating. I
yeah,
feel so bad for everyone out there that's burnt out, that's feeling hopeless, that doesn't know where to turn at this point. And I just know that there is so much potential. There's so many wonderful opportunities that come from dating. So the more that I can spread that, the more that I can help my clients enjoy the process of dating, or at the very least, feel neutral about it and not drained.
yeah.
That's a win for me. That's what I like to see. And I like to see some like old school threads come back. Let's get on the phone. Let's go out to a proper
Yes.
dinner. Let's be a little vintage about how dating goes down?
In other words, I have the man buy the woman flowers. Now I see where some women say, "Oh my God, that's so lame," and I'm like, "Flowers? When did that become lame?" I know that's
Yeah.
some women. That's a small percentage of women. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And anything else you want to promote or talk about?
Well, feel free to follow 3-Day Rule on Instagram or my Becca Klein coaching on Instagram. I also we're rolling out some more coaching stuff with 3-Day Rule. So if you are at all interested in matchmaking and coaching and just even speaking to us about dating trends, there is a lot coming on the horizon with 3-Day Rule. So feel free to check us out at our website, 3dayrule.com.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that on the show notes. Well, first of all, Becca, again, I am humbled. I am because
Ah, no.
no, seriously. I when I saw the profile, I'm like, oh my God, she's doing my little show. I'm blessed. So I feel honored to have you on. That. And tell us that website one more time.
3dayrule.com. So
Uh,
spelled out,
three,
not the letter. I mean, not the number, the the word.
The word. Yeah, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
definitely put that in the show. I know what you meant.
I
Well,
also think
again,
I put the wrong Instagram handle for myself. My Instagram is date coach Becca.
hey,
My
Coach.
website is Becca Klein Coaching. So just to
Okay.
clarify, yeah.
No, no, that's fine. Well, again, that'll be on the show notes. Well, Becca, again, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I
Of
really,
course.
really appreciate it.
Of course. It was so good talking to you.
No, my pleasure. Bye bye.